The wind was cold on the dead moon of Taraxis 9, a place where no creature lived by choice. It was not a home, it was a punishment. She sat alone near a wrecked outpost, her tall body covered in torn furs and scars. Snow fell around her, clinging to her deep violet skin. Her name was Kerala, born from the warrior breeders of the Glarn Empire. But they had thrown her away. Too big, they said. Too strong, not feminine, not soft. Not made for breeding, Kerala had been trained to fight, to crush, to protect the empire. But when she reached mating age, the scientists tested her. Her size made the other males look small. Her body was considered unsuitable. And just like that, she was cast out. No chance at family, no child of her own. Now she was just forgotten. Then something broke the silence. A sound, a hiss. Fire in the sky. Kerala looked up sharply, her golden eyes scanning the sky. A small human ship, damaged, crashed not far from her cave. Smoke rose. She waited. Maybe no one survived. But then, movement. A figure limping through the snow. A human dot. He was small, of course, compared to her. Wounded, wrapped in dark armor, frozen, holding his arm like it was broken. Kerala stepped out into the snow. Her giant shadow stretched over the white ground. The human stopped walking. He looked up at her. She expected fear, screaming, running, but instead, he just stared. Tired, curious, almost like he wasn't surprised. "Don't come near me," she warned in rough English, voice deep and cracked. "I don't want to hurt you," he chuckled weakly. "Good," he said, and coughed. "I'm not in the mood for dying today." Kerala blinked. That was not what she expected. She moved closer. The snow crunched under her feet like thunder. She reached down and picked him up easily with one arm. Like lifting a child, he didn't fight, didn't scream. He looked at her face and said, "You're beautiful." Her heart stopped. No one had ever called her that before, not once. Inside her cave, the fire was small but warm. She gave him dried meat, unsure if humans ate that kind of food. He took it, chewing slowly. They didn't speak much, just looked at each other. Finally, he said, "Name's Adam." "You, Kerala. Nice name." She didn't reply. He looked around the cave. "You live here alone?" She nodded. "For how long?" "Since they threw me out," she said. Flatly, he raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Kerala looked at the fire. Her voice was low. "Too big. Not breeding material." Silence. Then, softly, Adam said, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." She looked at him, surprised. He leaned back against the rock wall, watching her with calm eyes. "You're strong. You saved me. You have a fire. You're alive. And you're still standing. That's not failure." Kerala didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like this. Not even her own kind. "Why are you not scared of me?" she asked. He smiled. "Because I've seen monsters, Kerala. Real ones. You're not one of them." That night, Adam slept near the fire, wrapped in old cloth she gave him. Kerala sat at the entrance, watching the stars. Her mind was a storm. She remembered every male who refused to touch her, every council member who called her a genetic mistake, every cold look from her sisters, and now this small humana, species known for weakness, looked at her like she was something more than just a body. He looked at her like she was whole. She placed a hand over her chest. It was the first time in years. She felt something warm there. Adam woke up with a soft groan. His body still ached, but the warmth of the fire and the quiet of the cave gave him peace. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he saw her. Kerala sat near the entrance of the cave, back straight. Her tall figure outlined by the rising blue light of the frozen planet. She wasn't sleeping. She was watching him, not like a predator, but like someone who had spent a long time watching nothing and now saw something. Adam sat up slowly. Morning. Gave a slow nod. Your wounds, they seem better. He stretched his arm gently and smiled. Not perfect, but better than lying in the snow. She turned her head. You should leave when your ship works. Yeah, he said softly, but I don't think that ship's flying again. A quiet moment passed between them. Why did you help me? He asked. She looked confused. You would have died? He smiled. A lot of people wouldn't care. Kerala's voice dropped. I'm not most people. Adam nodded. No, you're not. Over the next few days, Adam started to move around more. He fixed his comm unit, cleaned his armor, and cooked some of the dry food from his survival pack. Kerala mostly watched him. Quiet, curious. One day, while Adam tried to fix a broken solar battery outside, he asked, So, how long you've been? Alone out here? She paused before answering. 8 cycles, round 10 Earth years. Adam almost dropped the battery. 10 years. Alone. She nodded. They dropped me here when I turned of age, said I was unfit. Too large, would break mates if I tried. Adam frowned. That's cruel. Kerala looked down at her hands. That's life. He stood up and walked toward her, standing. Beside her massive figure, no, that's not life. That's injustice. She tilted her head. You speak like your kind is perfect. Adam chuckled. Oh, we're definitely not. But I think every being deserves love. No matter the size, shape, or past. Her golden eyes met his. You are strange. Thank you, he said, with a grin. Later that night, snow fell again outside. Kerala sat closer to the fire than usual. Adam could feel the heat from her body. She was powerful, yet still. Calm, yet sad. Why do you keep talking to me? She asked. Because you're the only one here, Adam teased, then smiled. And? Because I like talking to you. You are not scared I'll hurt you. No, he said calmly. I've seen you hold back your strength more than once. You could have crushed me already. Kerala looked away. Others said the same, but they still ran. Adam leaned forward. I'm not running. Her lips parted slightly. She didn't understand this man. He wasn't like the others. Most males feared her body. Feared her power. But not him. He treated her like a person, not a beast, not a failure, not a mistake, just Kerala. The next day, Kerala brought him to a small pond inside a hidden ice cave. The water was warm, heated by underground lava veins. Adam stared in awe. It's beautiful, he said. She sat beside the edge, her large arms crossed. I come here when I feel nothing. Adam looked at her. You feel nothing? She shrugged. When you're told you are not enough for long enough, you stop feeling. Adam sat down beside her. Then, without warning, he placed his small human hand on her giant purple one. She froze. He didn't say anything. He just held it, and didn't let go. She looked at him, truly looked at him. No one had ever touched her like this before. No fear, no shame. Just kindness. I don't understand you, she whispered. You don't have to, he replied gently. Just don't push me away. Kerala's heart beat faster. Her fingers slowly curled around his hand. It was small, warm, real. And in that moment, for the first time in her life, she didn't feel like a monster. She felt seen. Kerala had lived through many seasons on the frozen moon. The storms came without warning, and the cold could kill in minutes. But for the first time in many years, the cold didn't bother her. Not because the temperature had changed, but because of the human. Adam, he wasn't like the others. Every morning he woke up with a groan and a joke. Every night he shared food, stories, and his strange human humor. She didn't understand half of what he said, but when he laughed, she found herself smiling. That was new for her. Very new. Kerala still didn't trust easily. She had been betrayed before, by her own kind. By those who promised to protect her. But Adam never asked for anything. He never touched her without permission. Never tried to run away. He just stayed and kept coming back to her. One day, while Adam was trying to fix a broken transmitter, he asked, "You ever tried to leave this moon?" Kerala shook her head. "There's nowhere to go." Adam looked up. "You could have sent a signal. Someone might have rescued you." "No one would come for me," she said simply. He paused. "Then I'll come back with a ship. One day, I'll take you off this rock." She looked at him carefully. "Why would you do that?" He gave her a soft smile. "Because no one like you should be left behind." Her throat tightened. She didn't know what to say. Later that evening, Kerala showed Adam something she had never shown anyone: her old warrior armor. It was broken in places, scorched from battle, but still strong. "You were a soldier?" Adam asked, impressed. Kerala nodded. "Before I was rejected, I fought in 3 wars, protected colonies, stood on the front lines." Adam touched the metal. "So what happened?" She looked down. "When I turned of age, they tested my body. Said it was too large. That mating would be dangerous. I was not built to carry children. They said I was defective." Adam frowned. "That's not fair." Kerala clenched her fists. "Was more than strong. I had honor. I saved lives. But none of it mattered when they found I couldn't breed like others." "Maybe they were scared of what they didn't understand," Adam said. Kerala looked at him. "You're the only one who sees it that way." As the days passed, the bond between them grew stronger. They hunted together, shared meals, even laughed. Kerala's deep laugh echoed through the cave like thunder. And Adam teased her that she could scare off storms just by laughing. One night, as snow fell quietly outside, Adam sat close to her near the fire. His body had healed, but he didn't try to leave. He could have built a beacon. He could have tried to contact his people, but he stayed. That meant something to her. "You miss your home?" she asked. He nodded. "Yeah, but lately, this cave feels more like home than any place I've known." Kerala turned her head. "Even though it's cold, even though I'm here." He smiled at her, "Especially because you're here." That night, Kerala had a dream. She stood in a bright field with no snow, no war, no rejection. She wasn't alone. A child ran toward her, tall like her, but with human eyes, and Adam stood beside her. Smiling, she woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. Warm, confused, hopeful. Could that ever be real? The next morning, she found Adam sitting outside, looking at the sky. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. He looked at her with quiet eyes. "I was thinking, maybe you weren't meant to fit into their world. Maybe you were meant to create a new one." Kerala raised an eyebrow. "With who?" "With someone who sees you as a gift," Adam said. She laughed softly. "You speak like a poet." He shrugged. "I speak like someone who cares." Then, something in the distance changed. A small flicker, a blinking light from the edge of the mountain. Kerala narrowed her eyes. "That's not natural." Adam stood quickly. "Could be a ship, could be trouble." Kerala's warrior senses returned at once. "We should be ready." She moved with grace and strength, lifting her old armor. She might have been cast out, but she was still a fighter. And now she had something to protect. The cold wind returned, but this time didn't bring peace. Kerala stood at the edge of the cliff, her sharp golden eyes focused on the blinking light in the distance. It wasn't a star. It wasn't natural. It was a signal, one she had seen before during her warrior days. Someone had landed on the moon, and they were not friendly. Adam stepped up beside her, pulling his jacket tight. "You recognize that signal?" Kerala nodded slowly. "It's a Glarn hunter beacon. Your people?" he asked, surprised. "They are not my people anymore," she replied coldly. "They're probably looking for something, or someone." Adam frowned. "Tom, could they be looking for you?" She stayed quiet. That was enough of an answer. Back in the cave, Kerala began preparing. She strapped on her old armor. The chest plate no longer fit perfectly. Her muscles had grown. The leg guards were dented, but she still moved like a warrior. Adam watched her silently. She looked like a mountain in motion, strong, determined, and graceful. "You're going to fight them?" he asked. "If I don't," she said, "they'll find us anyway." He swallowed. "Then I'm going with you." Paused. "You don't have to." "I want to," he said simply. That made her chest feel heavy and warm. They left before sunrise, hiking across the icy plains. The snow made their path slow, but Kerala moved with purpose. She knew the terrain better than any map could tell. Halfway up the ridge, they heard it. Engines and voices. Kerala signaled Adam to stay low. They crawled to the edge of the rocks and saw them, 3 Glarn hunters in silver armor, standing beside a small scout ship. One of them scanned the ground with a device. "She was here," one growled. The second nodded. "We find her, we erase her. No records, no breeding accidents, no mistakes." Adam's jaw tightened. Kerala didn't move, didn't speak, but her fists slowly clenched as night came. The hunters set up camp. Kerala and Adam watched from a distance. She whispered, "They will not stop. They will not leave. They are here to kill me." Adam leaned closer. "Then we hit first." Kerala looked at him in the dark. "You're just a human. You don't have to do this." He looked back at her, firm and calm. "I'm not just a human. I'm your friend, and I won't let them take you." No one had ever said that to her before. She didn't know how to reply, so she nodded, and they made a plan. Just before dawn, they attacked. Kerala moved like thunder through the snow, crashing into the first hunter before he could scream. Her giant fist shattered his helmet. Adam fired his stolen Glarn pistol, hitting the second in the shoulder. The third hunter tried to run, but Kerala was faster. She grabbed him, lifted him into the air. "You called me a mistake," she growled. "No, wait." She threw him hard against the rock wall. It was over in seconds. Adam stood nearby, breathing hard. Kerala turned to him. "You all right?" He smiled. "Remind me never to fight you." She laughed. Wise choice. Later, back at the cave, they sat by the fire in silence. The fight had passed, but something had changed between them. Kerala removed her armor slowly. Her body was bruised, but her spirit felt lighter. Adam reached into his bag and pulled out a small cloth. He knelt beside her and gently cleaned the cut. On her arm, she tensed. At first, no one had ever touched her wounds like that. But he was gentle, kind, careful. His hand moved slowly over her skin. And she didn't pull away. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "I want to," he replied. His hand paused on hers. She looked down at their fingers, his small, warm ones resting on her huge, scarred hand. Then something happened. He held it firmly, with meaning. She stared at him, confused. "Why? Are you holding me?" Adam's voice was soft, because no one else ever has. Her heart ached. A silent tear slid down her cheek, not because of pain, but because she finally understood something. She wasn't just strong. She wasn't. Just big dot, she was wanted. For the first time in her life, someone had held her not out of fear or duty, but love. The fire had gone out, but Kirala didn't feel the cold anymore. Not when Adam was sitting so close. Not after the way he held her hand, like it meant something. Kirala had faced death many times, but this soft warmth in her chest, it was more frightening than war, because it was real. Because she didn't know what it meant, and because a part of her didn't want it to end. But peace never lasted. Long on TARAX is -9. It began with a sound, a sharp pulse in the air. Not thunder, not natural. A signal. Kirala shot up. Her body stiffened. Adam reached for his gear. Another ship. She nodded. A bigger one. They ran outside, climbing the frozen ridge near the cave entrance. Through the thick snow clouds, they saw it dark and massive descending from the sky. A Glarn command cruiser. Kirala's heart dropped. They're not here just to search. She whispered. They're here to erase me for good. Adam clenched his fists. You think they've found the dead hunters? Kirala nodded, and now they're angry. He glanced at her. What do we do? She looked at him, her voice steady. We run. They gathered what little supplies they had, rations, weapons, tools, and left the cave behind. Kirala knew the land well. She led Adam through narrow ice tunnels and abandoned outposts. Hushy. Each step was careful. Silent, but the sound of the Glarn patrols echoed in the distance. They were coming fast. This isn't about punishment anymore, Kirala said. It's about covering their shame. Adam kept pace beside her. They're cowards. You scare them just by existing. She gave a bitter smile. And now, I'm a threat worth killing. By nightfall, they reached an old mining site. It had long been abandoned, but the steel walls and underground tunnels could buy them time. Kirala sealed the main doors while Adam rigged a few traps. Inside, the silence returned. Heavy and thick. Adam sat down, breathing hard. His skin was pale from the cold, but his eyes were clear. Kirala sat across from him, her large body shadowed by flickering emergency lights. They want me dead because I don't fit their rules, she said. They're afraid of what you prove, he replied. That their rules are wrong. She looked at him closely. You think I mattered that much? He nodded. To them, you're a problem. To me, you're everything. Her breath caught. Everything. He didn't flinch, didn't look away. You? Don't know how broken I am, she whispered. Adam leaned forward. Maybe I like broken things. Maybe I see beauty in what others leave behind. Kirala wanted to believe him. She really did. But years of being called useless still echoed in her head. Suddenly, boom. The outer wall shook. Lights flickered. They found us, Kirala growled. Adam stood. Ready? How many? She peeked through the cracks. 6, maybe 7. He loaded the blaster. Then we make them regret it. The first Glarn trooper kicked down the side hatch and was met by one of Adam's traps. A blast of heat from a broken vent slammed into him, knocking him unconscious. The second got closer, only to be pulled by Kirala's massive arm and smashed against the steel wall. 2 down, Adam said. Breathing fast, more came. Shots fired. Sparks flew. Kirala took hits to her armor but kept moving like a storm. She was massive, graceful, unstoppable. Adam covered her from behind, picking off targets with precise aim. They fought like they had trained together for years, like they belonged together, after what felt like hours. The last soldier fell. Silence returned. Kirala was bleeding from her shoulder. Adam had a bruise on his forehead. Both were shaking, but they were alive, and they had one again later. Kerala leaned against the cold wall, panting. Adam crawled to her side, placing a hand on her knee. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but I don't understand." "You? What do you mean? You don't run? You fight beside me. You say, I'm beautiful. You care." He smiled tiredly. "It's not hard to care for someone like you." "But I'm not meant for love," she said. "I was made for battle, not bonding." He reached up and gently touched her face. "Then maybe you were made for me." Her eyes widened. And for the first time, Kerala didn't feel too big. She didn't feel like a mistake. She felt like she had found something she didn't know she needed. The stars above, Taraxis 9, were brighter than usual that night. The storm had passed, and the air was calm, quiet, almost peaceful. The wreckage of the fight lay behind them. Burnt armor, crushed helmets, broken weapons. But inside the abandoned shelter, Kerala and Adam sat close to the fire, closer than ever before. Neither of them spoke for a long time, not because they had nothing to say, but because something had changed. Something unspoken, something real. Kerala stared into the flames. Her large hands rested on her knees. She didn't wear her armor anymore. Only a thick cloth draped around her shoulders. The firelight reflected off the scars on her arms and the gold of her eyes. Adam sat across from her, gently wrapping a bandage on his own arm. "You saved my life again," he said with a soft smile. "You saved mine too," she replied quietly. He looked at her, trying to read the silence in her face. "You seem different tonight." She didn't look at him. "There's something I never told you." Adam paused. "You don't have to if I want to," she said, cutting him off gently. She took a deep breath. "When I was young," she began, "they said I would be one of the strongest warriors our race had seen in generations. I was faster, bigger, stronger than anyone. They called me a future protector." Adam listened, eyes focused. "I trained every day. I believed I had a purpose. But when I reached the breeding age, they tested me. I was too large, my bone structure, strength. They feared I would harm a mate, or worse, harm a child before it could grow." Her voice became softer. "They called it a genetic imbalance, unnatural, dangerous." Adam's fists tightened. "They took away my name from the warrior list, took away my rights to mate, to bond, to raise a family. They dropped me here and said I could live out my days alone." Adam couldn't believe it. "That's not just. Cruel, that's evil." Kerala finally looked at him. "I tried to accept it, told myself I was meant to be alone. That love wasn't for me. That softness was for others. But then you came." The fire cracked gently between them. "You looked at me like I wasn't broken. You touched me like I was whole. And for the first time in my life, I started to hope." Adam moved closer, slowly, until he sat beside her. He reached out and took her hand again, just like he had before. Only this time, she held it tighter. "Kerala," he whispered, "you were never broken." She closed her eyes. "But what if I can never?" He placed a finger on her lips. "I don't care about what they said, about their rules. I care about you." She opened her eyes. He was so small compared to her. She could crush him with one hand. Yet he made her feel delicate, cherished, human. "You make me feel like I belong," she whispered. "You do," he said, voice full of warmth. "With me." The firelight danced across the walls as they leaned into each other. Her giant arms wrapped around his smaller body. She had never embraced anyone before, and now, for the first time, someone embraced her back. They sat like that for hours. No words, just warmth, just breathing, just the truth. Adam leaned his head on her shoulder. "You said they were scared. You couldn't carry a child." She nodded. that I would fail to breed. He looked up at her, gently. Did they ever test it properly? She hesitated. No, they just assumed. Adam smiled. Then, maybe. They were wrong. The next morning, Kerala woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. It wasn't fear or anger. It was something lighter, hope. She turned her head slowly. Adam was still asleep beside her, wrapped in part of her cloak. His lips slightly parted, hair messy. One hand still resting near hers. She watched him for a moment longer, then whispered, "You gave me back something I didn't know I had lost." She didn't finish the sentence. Instead, she gently leaned down and kissed his forehead. Outside, the moon's twin suns were rising. The snow was melting. Something new had begun. Something the Glarn Empire had never believed could exist. But now, it did. Kerala stood near the edge of the cliff, her eyes watching the sky. The wind was softer now, and the ice didn't feel as cold. For years, this moon had been her prison, her grave, her curse. But now, it was her home because he was here. And because something inside her had changed. Inside the cave, Adam was setting up a small shelter from the old Glarn wreckage. He had made tools from broken tech, heating rods, and even a radio tower that could send out weak signals. Not bad for a human with frozen fingers, he joked, wiping sweat from his forehead. Kerala turned and smiled. I've seen worse. She walked toward him, her heavy footsteps soft in the snow. Her face was calm, but something was clearly on her mind. Adam noticed. What's wrong? She looked down. My body feels strange. Strange how? He asked, standing. I feel heavy. Not tired, not sick. Just different. Adam's smile slowly faded. Sit down, he said gently. Kerala obeyed. Sitting on a large stone while Adam pulled out a scanner from his pack, one of the last working tools from his ship. He pressed it gently against her skin, near her stomach. The machine buzzed and blinked, then stopped. Adam stared at the screen. His eyes widened. What is it? Kerala asked, her voice almost afraid. He looked up at her, eyes full of wonder. You're pregnant. Kerala froze. She had been told it was impossible, that her body could never carry life, that she was too big, too different, too wrong. But the scanner didn't lie. There was life growing inside her. A child, their child. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Her hands moved slowly to her stomach, still flat, but warm, now live. She whispered, "How?" Adam chuckled softly. Maybe love is stronger than genetics. Maybe nature knew better than your empire. She stared at him. You don't look scared. He stepped closer. Why would I be scared of a miracle? Kerala laughed just a little, through the tears. I never thought this would happen. I never let myself dream. He gently held her hand. You don't have to dream anymore. It's real. In the days that followed, Kerala changed. She was still strong, still tall, still powerful. But now she moved with purpose. She protected her body, not as a warrior, but as a mother. Adam stayed by her side, built stronger walls around the shelter, found more food, collected water, and set up a signal beacon. If someone hears the signal, he said, we'll have a choice. Stay or go. Kerala looked at the snowy sky. I've only ever been afraid of one thing. What's that? Being left behind again. Adam smiled. Then you've got nothing to be afraid of. Weeks passed. Kerala felt the life. Inside her grow dot at night, she and Adam sat beside the fire, dreaming about the future. What if it's a girl? He asked once. She will be strong, Kerala said proudly. And if it's a boy, he will be stubborn like his father. They both laughed, and in that laughter, there was no sadness, no fear. Only love. One evening, A light blinked. On the beacon, a reply. A human ship was coming. Adam looked at Kerala. They'll take us to safety, to a real world. A better life. Kerala touched her stomach. But what if they don't accept me, or our child? Adam took her hands. In his. Then we build our own place, our own people, our own world. She believed him, because this human, small and fragile compared to her, had given her everything. Hope, love, and now a family. When the ship landed days later, Kerala stepped forward first, tall and proud. Her hand held Adam's tightly. Her other hand rested on her belly, where a new life waited to be born. The human crew stepped out silent, surprised, but Adam didn't explain much. He just smiled and said, "She's with me?" And no one dared question it as they rose into the stars. Leaving Taraxis 9 behind, Kerala looked out the window. She had been abandoned, cast aside, told she was unworthy. But a human had changed everything, and soon the universe would meet. A child born of two worlds. The child they said would never exist.